Hello everybody, my name is Tigtud and I would like to welcome you to Auraxis, the setting of the one and only Planetside 2, an upcoming game that is quite honestly looking very promising. And whoa, it's already exploding, that doesn't look very promising. Anyhow, before we get into the action, I would like to go through the basics of this game so you at least have some kind of idea what's going on. For that, I'll just take over one of this barracks here for a second. Hopefully nobody will come and stab me in the back or anything like that. Anyhow, most important screen of the game right here. This is the world map. As you can see, the map is divided in hexes in different colors. Now, these colors are basically associated with the factions. You have one color for each of the three factions, and that would be red for the Terran Republic, which we are currently playing, blue for the new conglomerate, which you should hate, and purple for the Fanus Sovereignty, or I don't know how you pronounce it, we'll just call them the Fanus for the rest of the video, shall we? Now, as you can see, these hexes, of course, if they are in the color of the faction that said faction, then that means that faction has dominance over them. Now, how does one take areas away from another faction? I'll show that right now. As you can see, we have to the left of our screen here, left bottom right above the map, we have the Zervan West Camp with A, and that A is a control point. Basically, if you've played any of the conquest type game modes in any of the Battlefield games, then you'll have a pretty good idea of how to capture bases. Bases basically have a certain amount of control points, which you capture by simply being near them and to make sure that the enemy is not near them. If you have control points captured, then a little progress bar, which will be right above the minimap as well, will start filling up, and whoever fills up the progress bar first wins. And of course, how fast it fills up is based upon how many points you control. You can have basically from 1 point as you had just now up to 6 points for one of the larger facilities that you are just about to enter here right now. As you can see, the facilities and just the entire world is pretty large. I mean, we're talking about a 225 square kilometer continent here, if I think so. Currently there's only one continent in the closed beta, which we're playing right now, so all you're seeing here is of course beta and not indicative of the final product. But they're planning eventually to have 3 continents, which will be different, each the same in size though, and they will each house about 2,000 players, so that is quite massive and allows for just massive battles to occur, which are already... Oh, hello there. One moment please while I spatula this. He's a fast little one. Anyhow, is you just massive battles. Basically, this is one of the smaller battles. You can see we still have some... Oh! So we still have some vehicle support and... Oh! Ooh, that was a close one. Yeah, the gunplay in this game is actually pretty awesome. As you can hear, the guns just, at least for the Terran Republic, I find they sound awesome. It's just beautiful, and I would say they handle pretty well as well. There's some latency issues I find, but that's mostly due to it being a beta, not a finished product. Anyhow, so once you capture a facility, then the control of that facility will of course be transferred to the faction that took it over, and it will also go in lockdown for either a minute up to 5 minutes, depending upon how large the facility is, which is basically the time that the defenders get to set up shop before a next assault usually comes their way. Now, why would you capture facilities, or why would you even bother? Why not just capture a few so that your faction is happy and then carry on? Well, the reason for that is that you see right above the map you have a couple of icons with a number next to them. Those are your resources. There are 4 types of resources, and they are all used in the spawning of basically anything that isn't your standard loadout. So vehicles, grenades as well, usable items for your specific class, they all cost one of those resources, and basically a territory will give you a certain amount of one type of resource. so you will need to capture territories just to have the resources to fuel your war effort, and you will also need to take different territories. Usually which territories you take are of course decided by what resources your faction happens to need. In this case I think we're doing pretty well for resource overall, so we're just attacking random territories to just expand our influence. As you can see, the Terran Republic holds a pretty big area of the map. Now, after having taken a facility, there's still one more thing that you need to take into account before you actually start receiving the resource. That is that the hex, as you can see here, needs to be directly connected to your warp gate, which is this area over here. Each faction has a warp gate. This one for the Founders Sovereignty, or the Founders. This is the one for the new conglomerate. If the hex is not directly connected to the okay, that was interesting. Anyhow, if the hex is not directly connected to the warp gate, then you shall not receive the resources, but you will still deny the enemy the resource, which of course is important as well. So while back capturing, or back hacking as it is called, is not really a viable way to go, as in you can't just do that and expect to win against the other factions, it's still something that does pay off if done well, and certainly something that the smaller but more coordinated groups can pull off, while the larger or the less coordinated groups can usually just hold the front line and push it forward. The game does really push you to play in group, even if it's just uncoordinated. I'm currently playing solo here, and as you can see I'm kind of struggling to find what's going on, so I would really suggest that you play either with friends in a squad or join one of the larger outfits, because that's really where the game comes to its own right. And that, I believe, is a max unit. We don't want to fight those because there are different types of classes, and then you have the max unit. The max unit is basically a giant fuck you to soldiers on the ground, because there is almost no chance that you have against that with just a standard assault rifle. A heavy assault soldier who has a rocket launcher can kind of go up against them, but still it's not something that you want to go toe-to-toe against. You really want a vehicle to deal with them. The downside to that is of course that maxes cannot capture bases, which makes them a good pushing unit, but they need to be backed up in order to be effective. Now, besides that, there's nothing more to really say about this, except, oh, apparently we've lost this facility. That's not really all that excellent. But besides that, there's and when you spawn in a vehicle, it will also have a cooldown, so there's also why you want to earn more resources. Of course, you will also, there's a cap on the resources, so you need to earn a couple more of those if you want to spawn in more vehicles. And besides that, it's mostly just a case of trying to keep your front lines up while pushing the enemy back, because they really push you towards frontline play, since as you can see there's currently a capture going on in the left bottom of the screen right above the minimap. You will see part of the bar is just these little dots, as you could say, or these lines, which are slowly counting upwards because we currently hold the control point, and once that bar is full we will take control of this facility and we'll go in lockdown. But there's also part of the bar that is completely filled. Now what that means is that is a part of the capture that can be given to our influence that we have over this sector. Now influence that is basically given through controlling the adjacent hexes. The more you control, the more influence you have, and that basically allows you to have a certain percentage of the capture already done before you even begin with it. Now usually if you have 100 influence, which is if you control every adjacent hex, then you have 50% of the capture just already done out of the and damn it. And you won't need to worry too much about holding the area for too long, while if the enemy has 100% influence, then you will need to sit out a pretty long capture time. I'm thinking it is easily, oh, that's very nice, huh? It's easily a 10 minutes, probably even more. I haven't really counted because usually it is just a massive explosion inferno everywhere, people dying, so it's not really a time to look at the clock, as to say. But besides that, if you can capture those areas, then you are really an organized group. We have just recaptured this facility here, and that has actually ranked me up as well. Very nice. Now, Also to win against someone with 100% influence, you will almost need to hold every single point. If it's just a frontline battle, then you can take the majority of the points and win because the captures are equal. If you are going up against someone with 100% influence, you need almost every single point or else you're not going to win. Now bases also have these secondary points, which usually power force fields that keep the enemy out. If the secondary points are taken down, then the force field will go down, and it will allow, in this case, vehicles to enter this large courtyard area here and rain death upon your friendly troops. Now, there are different kinds of facilities in Planetside 2. There are a lot of the smaller facilities, just camps and strongholds. Towers are very important as well, which will just allow you to spawn vehicles or occasionally even just resupply and spawn a very basic car to get you along. It's actually a quad bike in this case, called a Flash, very inexpensive, but basically does nothing besides get you from point A to B. And then you have the larger facilities like this one, which is a tech facility, if I recall correctly, or no, it's actually an AMP facility, which is a collection of buildings, and there are two other facilities in the game. Oh, dang! Oh, he had a friend. Damn it! Yeah, as you can see, squad play or even team play in action right there, and if the different facilities. So you have also the biolab and the tech facility. The biolab is basically this large dome which has a couple of facilities around it, and you capture those first, then you take a teleporter inside of the dome, and from there on it's basically this close quarters infantry combat with in an overgrown urban area, because there are plants everywhere. There's even a little desert that you can fight in, but it's all pretty close quarters. Same thing with the tech facility. It's one big building, multiple stories, and that's also pretty close quarters, although vehicles can support you, of course, to reach facility. The AMP facility here is the one that is actually facilitates vehicles the most, because you can drive into the courtyard. You can also have aircraft bombard courtyards, and of course assist the infantry that way, although usually their infantry are the ones really capturing the facility. So if you don't have a properly balanced squad with the proper classes in it for the actual capturing, then you will not get far. Now, about classes, there are a couple of classes. I'll go into detail in them in most likely a couple of other videos that I'll make later. All that you need to know for now is that classes each have a pack, which is based upon what class they are. And in my case, I'm the light assault. That would be a jetpack, which will allow me to fly around at a cost of energy. As you can see in the right bottom corner there, you will have my health, my shields, and then above that the ammo counter, and even higher up you will see my jetpack energy, which will allow me to fly around. Personally, I really like the light assault so far, and they don't like us being here, because the jetpack just gives you so much mobility and flanking capability. It's insane. You can attack people, fly over a rooftop, attack them from another angle. You can just evade vehicles entirely by simply jumping on a rooftop and waiting for them to go away. There's just so much you can do with it. I'd say it's even better than the infiltrator's cloaking ability in avoiding people, because most of these rooftops can only be accessed by other light assaults, so you're pretty much safe on them. Now, looks like the Vanus here want to take his facility back, so we're just going to stop them from doing that. And as you can see, it says re-encrypting consoles. In the left where usually the progress bar is, that is the time in which a facility is locked down and nothing can happen. That doesn't mean that you are safe in the facility, because most likely if the enemy is strong enough, they'll just hang around the facility and immediately recapture it. Although if you did take it back with a sizable force, then you usually have this amount of time to push them out and set up a defense, which is of course really nice. Now, if you're not one to stick with a group for too long, then they also facilitate that in this kind of hotspot system. As you can see, you have several glowing areas, as to say, marked on the map, and those are hotspots, which is areas where big battles are going on. A lot of people are fighting there. Usually a lot of people of your faction are there as well, although I'm not too sure whether that is guaranteed. and you have this button down in the left bottom here then, which is instant action. Let's just click that right now, and what I will do, it will basically drop you in the area in kind of a pod. You'll have limited control over where you land, and then you'll just be able to join right into the battle after a short loading screen, of course, without too much of an issue really. And you can just go straight into battle like that. It does have half an hour of a cooldown, just to prevent people endlessly reinforcing themselves by simply dropping down all the time. But if you don't rush in blind and die instantly, then you usually won't notice the cooldown all that much, because you'll just be capturing a facility, and then when the facility is captured and everything is secured, you can just move on to the next one with the drop system. Now let's try and take him down before I can cause some trouble. But damn it, where did he go? Besides that, it's really much just a case of trying to assist your faction as best you can, try and capture the territories with the resources that are needed to push on, and you have the vehicles needed, oh my god, to push on, and just trying to work as an overall team. As you can see, working as a team pays off here as the... damn it. As the aircraft there blows him up nicely after me dealing a bit of damage to him. And I must say it's a really nice game. I'm sad I can't play it in a team-based tournament, because I don't have anyone else that plays this, considering it's a closed beta. I was really lucky to get this invite at all. Then, but I certainly see it being a ton of fun to play with friends, perhaps even join a larger outfit and have literally, it's not strange to have thousands of tankers roll into a base, literally, because there's just that many people, 2,000 people on a server. That is easily 600 people per faction, so you will be seeing some massive battles, especially when people start organizing, and I'm really looking forward to what will come out of this game once it progresses a bit further. So I will be making some more videos, going more into detail into the different classes and their abilities, also the certification system, which is basically the player progression of this game, and perhaps also a bit in detail of the layout of different facilities, because there's to affect your attack plan, and also the type of weapon that you might want to take. Oh, damn it. Shit. And with that, I shall say goodbye for now, as the cruel world of Auraxis once again murders us. My name has been Zigdode, thank you for watching, and I'll hope to see you next time.